All right, another weekend's here, and it's actually mid-Saturday. I couldn't do any work on the boat this morning because it was 48 degrees, and I need to wait for everything to warm up until you can start putting down glass. It just doesn't stick very well, so I wanted to make sure we're at least in the 60s. We're only supposed to have a high of 70 degrees here today, maybe 72, which is weird because this is mid-May. We've been in the 90s for the past week, and all of a sudden now it's just freaking cold. So I've been kind of farting around all morning. It's almost noon, so it's time to get working on the boat. Let me show you something I went and bought this morning because I've been getting a lot of requests to actually videotape more of my progress or as I'm doing things. I'm thinking, how in the heck am I going to put the camera to where I can actually get to it? Well, somebody suggested going and getting it's called the brand name was called Gorilla, but the thing is you can't find them locally. They seem like they're only sold online. So I found this in my local Walmart store. It's a knockoff of that, and what it does is it allows you to put your camera mounted on top, and it's got these little flexible feet that allow you to wrap it around things. So it's it's made for a heavy SLR, so it'll work for this little video camera. And that way I can kind of put it, mounted to different spaces and shoot at my workspace, and then use my little remote control, which I dug out of the box, to turn on the record and stop. So that way I don't have to touch the camera and get it all dirty and stuff. So we're going to try that today and see if we can't get the stringers the rest of the way glassed in, tab in the fronts, and then start going over the top. I'm going to go put some long pants on though because it's freaking cold. Also, I tried to go get one of those tents that go over the boat, and they're just too short. So we're going to have to continue using our cover technique to keep the sun off of me as I'm glassing, just because I couldn't find one tall enough to go up and over. So I bought one and wrestled around with it out here for an hour or so and realized that's junk, took it back. So I'm going to go change into my work clothes and we'll get things rolling. We'll test out this little camera mount too. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm measuring exactly where I'm going to put, or how wide I want my pieces to be. And I'm coming up with about a foot for my small one and about 18 inches for my big one. And this is these are the hard layups to do when they're this big. This stuff just doesn't want to lay down right. So what I've done is I've gone through and completely basically knocked all the nibs off, all the little things sticking up, so that way you kind of sand them down a little bit. And then we'll come back with a compressed air, blow this all out, and then acetone it real good to make sure that it's you're going to take the fiberglass well. And then as it goes forward, we need to make sure and basically taper the fiberglass down. Let me see if I can show you. If you can taper the fiberglass down towards the bow, so that way it's not as wide in the front. But I think we'll probably do that in a second layup. So I'm going to go get the compressed air, blow all this junk out, and then wipe it down. And then cut my pieces, so therefore I can do this all up. And because it's cool today, we're going to try to do a whole bunch all at once. Alright, so we're going to wipe this down to get ready for fiberglass. I'll show you how much I use. I use a lot of acetone. And I found the acetone at Lowe's and Home Depot to be less expensive than a lot of the others. And it's still $17, $18 a gallon. But this stuff really softens up the surface and allows the fiberglass to adhere really good. You want to wipe down real good all the corners, every little section that is going to be adhered to with glass, and it is getting tight back in here. Woo. Stuff is strong. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get my pieces of fiberglass, and we're going to make sure and trim them to where they'll fit properly. Start with our smaller piece first. We want the smaller piece to go in before anything. Yep. That's what I thought. we're going to need to really trim this down to make it fit right. It's not going to want to lay down in here at all. So let me figure that out, and I'll turn the camera back on a little bit. I need to figure out if you can see the wrinkles in here. I guess you could relief cut them, but actually it wasn't that big of a deal at all. All I needed to do was just kind of get in there and tape with it. I need to let that acetone evaporate a little bit because, man, it was making me really dizzy. So what I did is I went in there and I just basically tapped it down into the crevice and then just started kind of patting around and everything laid out. And then I cut the fiberglass into a V like this. So as the hole comes together, it gets more narrow. So now we're going to do the 18-inch section, which ought to just be a blast. And we're going to have to do the same thing with this one. Get it down in here in the corner. You see, by pressing out the stuff, it lays down, and once you get resin on there, it even gets better. God, if I hit my head one more time on that, I'm going to scream. It's just irritating. So we just keep pressing it in here to get a good seal. And I just pick a spot, doesn't matter where. We just start cutting straight up. We still get a good overlap from our other one. We're still going to have to push it down inside the strake there. You do the same thing up here with the top part that was going high. Okay. So now it's done and ready for glassing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my tabbing to go into the corners. And that, I found out, is super easy. Let me see if I can adjust the camera a little better to this corner where I'm going to be messing with it. It's actually going to be right here. I'm trying to find some scraps in the boat here. They can be used. Alright, so you want kind of a rough square to go into these corners. And all I do, is I take and I'll cut up like this to the center where it's going to be. This is where the corner is going to be, and then I'll overlap them in the corner. And then by doing this twice, you end up eliminating the weak spot right there in the middle, but it fits just perfectly down inside here, and you don't get any issues. Now, it doesn't go up high enough on the stringer, so you have to cut yourself another little tab that's going to round the corner, and it doesn't have to be anything special. It just is a normal tab to make sure that it's going up high enough on the up on the what do you call it, the stringer here. Now I want 2 layers of them, so this one's trash, that's done. So I need to find another. Just like that. And we'll cut another little small piece, but a little wider. We'll go around the top here. And that works out just nicely. And I just lay those out here, nice and neat, so that way I can get to them when I need them. Now, I'm going to go to the other side and do it, and you know what? No, we're not, because this is going to require probably right out of court to do these 2 things. I have this part of this strake here, or the stringer on the outside, and then this. So let's just go ahead and do this one, get it over with, and then I'll just do the other ones off camera so you can see exactly what I did on this side and how we push out all the air bubbles. This is going to be a huge test because This one's going to be just like the compartment before it. It took me forever to get all the air bubbles out. It was just an absolute whipping. And you'll have to forgive me because I'll have my respirator on. You won't be able to really hear me. So I'm going to go mix up some resin, and we'll dump it in here on the first layer and get it all laid up. And I want to make sure you get all your stuff in the boat before you start, because you never want to get mixed up and then all of a sudden be missing stuff. So, alright, so I've got my roller right here and my brush. These are little chip brushes that I cut most of the things off, so therefore you've got almost like a stippling brush. This helps you tap it in really good. So what I do is I pour this into a paint thing. And actually, I really don't need to do that in this case, because all I'm going to do is just pour it in right here. We have a little ripple here that I need to take out. I haven't had to do that a whole lot. For the most part, we need to get our corner sections in now. Alright, now for the big one. Now we pour this on. I got a feeling I'm going to need more. Alright, I'll be back in a minute. I need another pint. Another pint. Using this to tap out the air bubbles. Alright, so I'm going to continue doing this one up here. Oh God, it's tight.
Just making a little end cap over here. Alright guys, that's how it's done. I'm finished pushing all these air bubbles out. I'm going to do the other side, and then we'll do the inside of this ski locker. I do this just so it'll stick. I usually start at the top and let the resin kind of work its way down. Alright, we got more resin. Alright, that's pretty much it. Now we go on to our other side. And we're done.
Well, she is 100% done as far as tabbing in all the stringers. All I have left to do is to put the two layers of, I'm going to do 1.5 ounce, 24 ounce, 1.5 and 24. So it'll be chop strand, woven, chop strand, woven, right there in that little spot. And I'll do all this tomorrow. I'm going to go check out this new In-N-Out burger we supposedly got here in Frisco, Texas. I think it's going to be pretty much overrated. You know, we got so many hamburger joints here in Texas, it's not even funny. Can't be that, they can't be that good, but I'll give you an update. I'll build those tomorrow. That won't take any time at all. We're just going to glue them in. I'll use some peanut butter thickened resin, glue it in, and then glass them in. And then we'll be ready for the to cap them, which we're just going to do one layer of 1708 over the top. And once we cap it, then we'll come back and we'll put the cleats, which are 2x2s, to basically screw the deck into. So you don't just go straight in the stringers, or actually have 2x2s all the way around. I'm actually going to put a couple of supports up there across, and probably where the gas tank is. So I'll worry about those a little later on. We got a lot of stuff to do before we get there. So I'm done for this Saturday.